The year is 1997, and I just traded a pair of skiing mittens to a classmate for a garbage bag full of old CDs in Miss Thompson's third period homeroom. I'm not sure if the kid even skied, or if the CDs were even his to begin with. But as a skinny, moody 14-year-old growing up in the suburbs of Seattle, the airwaves were dominated by Mbop, Chumbawamba, and Sugar Ray. Kurt Cobain, Tupac, and Biggie were all dead, and LimeWire was still a couple years off, leaving a generation of bored kids supremely moldable by a globalized record industry nearing its zenith. Miss Thompson would later go on to have a mental breakdown in class later that year, but it was in the back of her class by the art supply cabinet that I slipped Daft Punk's first album, Homework, into my Discman. The entire world opened up in an instant. If it was 11:45 on the West Coast, that meant it must be almost 9 p.m. in Paris, where other skinny, moody, bored French teenagers were just getting ready to go out. Because as far as I was told, French teenagers were basically allowed to do whatever they wanted, including drink, smoke, and get into nightclubs. This music gave me a glimpse of that world.
Hello everyone, I'm Thomas from Daft Punk.
Hello everyone, I'm Guy from Daft Punk.
We live in Paris.
Both attending the Lycée Carnot, a fancy private school in Paris's 17th arrondissement that shared its halls with Jacques Chirac, Dominique Strauss-Kahn, and Jean Reno. Even when those kids were 13, social class weight was already on them, said Guy Manuel. They were dressed like their fathers, it was crazy. Thomas recalls one well-behaved classmate who dreamt of becoming an accountant because retirement plans were cool.
In the school where we wanted to maybe to do something different than just listening to the charts. Or I think we got our education, like artistic education. When we met, we were like 12 and 13, and for the first 4 years we were friends. We only went to movies and stuff, and looking at videotapes, and we never did music for the first years. It's after that we had separate bands, and then ultimately we made music together. The first love was movies and cult movies in general.
At the end of the year, they took a class trip to Pompeii, and in the car ride, they began to make up songs. When they got back, they recorded them on a little Casio keyboard.
I told Thomas the other day, my father has got a tape of us when we were 12, and where we did our first music video, and so the collaboration and maybe the movie side or visual side started long before making music together. When you find a good movie like Phantom of Paradise when you're 12 and your friends are watching just Back to the Future, you know, you feel like you found something really interesting or treasure.
We were 17 and we just wanted to have a rock band like anybody, and so that's how Darling came about, and the band itself didn't last long, so the single was released, and by the time it was released it got bad reviews.
They thought it was irrelevant or whatever, so they said it was Daft Punk. So after that, later on, we kept the name.
And at the same time, I think we were already discovering electronic music and house music, and finding a different energy that we would decide to embrace a few months later.
I don't know, we're just making music, and we just like a lot of different music. After that, I'm trying to make it funky. If we want to make people dance, it's warmer that way.
Thomas used his $1,500 graduation check to buy a synth and a drum machine, and together with Guy Manuel, they got to work on their first record from Thomas' Paris bedroom. It was his frenetic energy, the buzz of youth culture amplified by new digital tools, that made its way into the record, and then around the world to global success. Wary of fame, they decided to hide their identities.
I think we tend to, and I think succeeded in keeping our anonymity personally, and this is something that we really cherish from a personal point of view and artistic point of view.
How much can you really disappear?
I took the subway to come to this interview today.
There you go.